If you was watching Candyman for entertainment, then you missed the whole concept of what this movie really means. So I'm about to give you the real story and open your eyes to what this movie represents. Just like most movies they make, they copy from the Bible and then they try to put it in film and then they try to hide it so you won't see it, but I see right through it. You know who Candyman represents in the Bible? He represents a man named Nimrod in the Bible. The woman named Helen that he kept going after, she represents a woman named Semiramis in the Bible. The baby in the movie, you know who the baby represents in the Bible? It's supposed to represent Tammuz. So you got the baby, that's one. You got the woman, that's two. And then you got the man, Candyman, that's three. Bro, all three of them I just named in the movie represents the trio of the mother goddess, sun god, worship. See, this is what you're looking at when you look at Candyman the movie. This is what they showing you. You're looking at a false god and you're looking at a false goddess. When Nimrod was unalive in the Bible, he convinced his followers that he was going to become a sun god. In the same way, when they unalived Candyman, he became some type of god. He even mentioned it in the movie when he tells Helen to come with him. And look what he says, and be immortal, meaning that he's a god. Remember what I said, Candyman represents Nimrod in the Bible. Remember, Nimrod convinced his followers that he was going to become a god before he was unalive. So when he was unalive, they believed he became a god. And one of the most known forms of him becoming a god was an idol, a deity named Baal in the Bible, who they sacrificed and burnt their kids to. This was supposed to be Nimrod. So him picking up the baby and going into the fire with him represents the sacrifice. That's what the fire represented in that scene, him sacrificing the child, just like they did in the Bible. Don't think this is a normal woman, bro. She's a goddess. They both are gods, bro. The issue is that one betrayed the other. So in the movie Candyman, they show you the story of Candyman and how they unalived him. So he was supposed to have been drawing a picture for some white dude. And his daughter, he fell in love with his daughter. And he ain't like that. He got her pregnant and everything. His daughter was white. So he sent a bunch of white racist men to attack him and cut his hand off. And then they fed these bees to him and he got stung to death. And then on that same wall, Candyman had wrote, "It was always you, Helen." So that woman who he fell in love with in the 18th century is supposed to be her. And if you look closely on the wall, that's her. She go walk a little closer, you go see it. So that woman that's on the wall, that is her from the 18th century. So my theory is that Candyman, when he was attacked right here in this scene in the 1800s, when he was attacked, right, he had did a ritual for him and her to stay together and become these entities when they both are unalive. But she didn't go through with it. As you can see, she just stood there and let him be attacked and get swarmed with them bees. See, the ritual that Candyman did before he was unalive, it was some witchcraft stuff, something to do with these bees and the honey. So she didn't believe it. She didn't believe that she was gonna be some type of entity like he was. But he said he was. And the bees brought him back as some type of entity that's immortal. See, according to this movie, she was reincarnated, born again on Earth. She didn't believe that she could become a goddess like how Candyman became that entity. She didn't believe that. But she can be reincarnated, and she was. But when she started hearing the stories of Candyman and people talking about him, then that's when she knew the ritual worked. He came back to life. See, now she want to know about him. She want to know where he at. She want to know how she can bring him out. So she trying to get as much information she can out of people so she can know exactly how to find him and how to draw him to her. She even went in the mirror, said his name 5 times, but he didn't show up. Instead, her boyfriend jumps on her, playing around with her. She thinking that's him, but that was her boyfriend. So now she pissed off because she like, dang, I want it to be him. I'm trying to bring him out. Where is he? She even made her way to the black community. See what this false goddess is trying to do? She's trying to draw out Candyman. So when she was attacked by the fake Candyman, right? This was her plan. Because this Candyman is supposed to have been doing crimes, and they think this is the one that's unaliving everybody. That's what she wanted them to think, so it can draw all the attention off the real Candyman, and that way the people will no longer live in fear. And that's when he eventually came out. So now that she see that he has this power to become immortal and become his own self-god or whatever, she wants the same thing. But the problem is she wants to be worshipped alone. She wants all worship to be rendered to her. And he wants all worship to be rendered to both of them together. Like I said, when they unalive Candyman, she was supposed to have been unalive with him. But she let him be unalive by himself so she can see if he was going to become this entity that he became. Just look at the look on the face when the man is explaining what happened to Candyman and how nobody came to his aid. Look how she looking when he say that.
Where they proceeded to saw off his right hand with a rusty blade. And no one came to his aid.
You see how she did her eyes like she didn't care when he said nobody came to his aid? That's because she was supposed to have been down there with him. Now this man is telling the story of the white woman who Candyman was with. Remember, that white woman who he was with in the 18th century was her. So this man is telling a story about Candyman and her. She already know the story. That's why she looking like, I don't care. She like, I know I was supposed to jump down there with him and be unalive with him and try to defend him. But she didn't do that. She let him go down by himself. Just listen to the conversations towards the end that he was having with her when she surrendered to him. He say, as for our deaths, there is nothing to fear. Our names will be written on 1,000 walls. Our crimes told and retold by our faithful believers. See, this was the plan the whole time from the beginning. But like I said, she didn't go through with it. She let him suffer on his own and he became his own entity. Now she trying to do the same, but she want to portray him. So that's when she started thinking, if I can take Candyman out and win the hearts of all the black community people by delivering this baby back to the mother, then I can be worshipped. So she betrays Candyman and let him burn. Then she delivers the baby to the mother. So her plan worked. She ended up unalived and became the entity she wanted to become. Now she was immortal and all worship was rendered to her. And she was the entity that was in the mirror if you say her name 5 times. And the only reason she saved that baby is because she knew she was going to win the hearts of the whole community, which is going to spread fear of her name. And just like the woman, Semiramis, who I told y'all about, who was unalive in the Bible, and her followers worshipped her as a false goddess. And that same exact image is at the end of the movie. This is her being worshipped by the people as a false goddess. This is exactly what she wanted from the beginning. To become her own entity of evil. And remember, I always tell y'all, red and white represents something evil. Red and white, red and white, red and white.